My name's Art, welcome to my YouTube channel, and I'm going to show you how to make a VHS camcorder tapeless. Let's begin. Naturally, you're asking why bother with this fossil? And maybe it's just labeling theory and wanting to be a hipster really bad. If you're anything like me, you grew up in the era where MTV actually had music, and you're Canadian, so you watched much music anyway. We were distinctly categorized by being the generation of analog media, namely the VHS tape. But this is a way to bring nostalgia back in a convenient way that doesn't really require you to find literally the only working VHS camcorder in a thrift shop. I got this for 20 bucks. The tape mechanism is broken. I'm pretty sure it's just a belt issue, but I've only been able to fix cassette decks. They're far more simpler than VCRs, which is essentially what this is attached to this device, just a VCR and a vintage video camera. And this is how we're gonna do it. This quarter-size PCB with these little dangly wires is called a DVR. And that's what we're gonna use to convert the analog signal to digital in a rather cheap way. So I actually stole this idea from the skateboarding community. They have this fisheye lens mini DV camera, and they make them tapeless using $100 VHS to SD card things with the little screen. And those are great, those work, but they're 100 bucks, and I don't wanna spend 100 bucks on something I spent $20 to get. So I'm gonna spend another 20 and make it tapeless. You're gonna notice on the DVR, there's 4 wires. They come labeled, obviously, but the red and black are positive, negative. So I just took an old micro USB cable, cut it off, found the positive, negative, and I'm gonna just solder it on. And then obviously make sure I'm using the correct AC adapter so I don't explode this thing. And then the weird periwinkle one is actually the video, and then the orange-ish one is the audio. And it's mono, obviously, but if you want good audio, don't shoot it in camera. Another insane upside to this camera is its lens. You might be thinking oh, it's just a junky camera, but no, it's actually amazing. So this camera is, an f1.2, 11.5 to 69 millimeters. That's incredible. And it's a zoom lens and a macro one at that. You can't find that for $20. I know I can't rip it off and put it on my other cameras, but just that alone makes this so much fun. And it has this little dad slider too for those dad zooms and these 2 buttons, and it has autofocus. That's ridiculous. One of the cheapest ways to get vintage glass. I know I've been collecting these really fast primes. They're just Minolta, this isn't even a Rocore one. It's just a regular Minolta 50 millimeter 1.7. This is slower than that. Okay, a couple caveats. These are not all the same, and I'll prove it to you right now because I have another one. So this is a Video 8 camcorder, and it's really nice. It's made by Sony, and it's, believe it or not, actually functioning, but there's 2 issues. Video 8 tape are, I guess it's called High 8, hard to find, and this doesn't have AV out. So AV is when you plugged in your video game console, there was yellow, red, and white. This doesn't have that standard. You need a module that sticks on to this I think it's 24 pin connector, and also make sure it has a way to power it other than the batteries, because the batteries that are gonna come in these big suitcases you get with them are dead. These cameras had their heyday in the 80s, and I'm pretty sure they just sat in people's garages and closets, so it's not gonna be a viable way of charging the camera. But this one, I'm lucky enough that it has a DC port. Most of them come with a battery to wall plug thing where you can just have this fake dummy battery and then plug it with AC power. So I obviously needed another power solution for this camera, so I just put a bunch of Velcro on the side of this, bought a portable battery pack, and a third-party AC adapter because I don't really trust the 12 volt out on these batteries. They fluctuate too much. I don't want to blow anything up, and I just put it on the side. Another thing too, I don't feel very good about having those huge batteries next to my face. This is gonna be a production camera sitting on a tripod as kind of like a weird second camera artsy shot. So I feel more comfortable of affixing the battery here, but you don't need to affix it to the camera if you're not comfortable exposing yourself to a potential hazard. So just a heads up. If I do a video about cameras and don't provide test shots, that's like a law. That's like a law on YouTube now. So, you know, whatever. I probably won't do weird papers and charts like you guys do, but I'll try to get, you know, glam shots and stuff around my house. So I'll do both the purely digital way of doing it and the non-purely digital way of doing it, and hopefully that will be good. So let's talk really quick on how we're going to put this back onto tape and why we're going through the hoopla. My issue personally was I was filming with like my phone camera or like a DSLR, and I was putting it onto VHS, and I didn't get that effect that I wanted, and there's something that was wrong, and it's because of the sharpness. If you put a sharp image on VHS, you still kind of get that inauthentic kind of feeling. I mean, you're there like 50% or 60%, but it's not perfect. So this is the way to do it. Some more cheap things from Amazon that take 1,000,000 years to get to your house. These two boxes are the secret. This is actually from Best Buy of all places. I bought this like when I was in high school to like record me playing Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, and let's just say my Let's Play channel never lifted off. So I'm still lucky to have this thing. At least I have a little memento from those days of playing violent video games. So this is a standard definition capture card. I mean, it has S-video, so is it still standard definition? Let's just say it is. So yellow, white, and red, and a micro USB, the weirder one than like a phone. And this is probably more important. This is HDMI to AV out. So this takes your like really high def signal and puts it into standard definition. And you also have like an NTSC and PAL switch on the side, just in case you're from the UK. A VCR that's functioning. I have a great Sony one that I got from my partner's relatives. They were just getting rid of it. And then you need the technology of the hour, the VHS tape. And that is all Hopefully I convinced you to waste your money too on stuff you don't need. But this is really neat, especially if you're filming like music videos. Primarily the reason why I love these things and like video art in general, it's a texture that you don't get anymore, and I don't care what you say. There's no plugin, there's no weird LUT, and no overlay that can replace this stuff. It's so imperfect, and each obviously being mechanical pieces of technology are so unique. And not to mention, these are so much fun. Everyone's toting 35mm film cameras. Meanwhile, I'm like, yo, check out my VHS camcorder. They're either gonna make people roll their eyes or laugh hysterically, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I hope these test shots were to your liking, and check these out. Just make sure the camera part works. Be good, everybody. I hope you enjoyed. For those of you watching during the pandemic, I hope I cured some of your COVID depression. And if you're watching years after, just know I was there. Okay, see ya.